Yeah.
And then if you like it kind of
Like my arms are
I'd be like,
I call this regular meeting to order. Call roll.
Mayor Querom.
Here.
Councilmember Swanson.
Here.
Mabry.
Here.
Gomez.
Here.
Newman.
Here. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you have any public comment to start? Okay, we'll go to Commissioner Newman for the approval of minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we approve the minutes from our regular council meeting on June 17th, 2019.
Second. Motion's been seconded. Any corrections? Call roll. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, there is a correction on the motion 4. I voted nay for that, so it would like to be changed.
Yeah, that was for the vote to suspend the second reading for the liquor license. So he advised me that I made that correction to the master copy already.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, and I'll go back. I'll go to City Clerk Nelson for invoices.
But we didn't vote.
We didn't?
No.
Okay. All right. So the motion has been seconded. So call roll.
Okay, Councilmember Swanson.
Aye.
Mabry.
Aye.
Gomez.
I recused.
Newman.
Aye.
Mayor Querom.
Aye. Now we'll go to City Clerk Nelson for approval of invoices.
Okay, the Department of Accounts and Finances, we have invoices totaling $38,453.27. In the Department of Streets and Public Improvements, we have invoices totaling $323,243.49. In the Department of Public Safety, we have invoices totaling $332,600.07. And finally, in the Department of Public Property and Utilities, we have invoices totaling $219,947.02. Mayor, all council members present have confirmed their reviews of all invoices and now are submitted for disposition.
I move that we approve the invoices as presented.
Second. Motion's been seconded. Any comments? Call roll.
Councilmember Swanson.
Aye.
Mabry.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
Newman.
Aye.
Mayor Querom.
Aye. Now we'll go to our regular business and City Clerk Nelson.
Next item on the agenda is first reading for Ordinance O-19-012. This is an ordinance authorizing and providing for the issue of not to exceed $1.4 million in general obligation bonds, alternate revenue source, Series 2019A of the City of Princeton, and providing for the levy and collection of a direct annual tax sufficient for the payment of the principal of and interest on said bonds for the purpose of financing the costs of certain capital projects within the city and paying for costs related thereto. Mayor, all council members have reviewed this ordinance and it is submitted for disposition.
I move that we advance the ordinance O-19-012 to the second reading.
Second. Motion's been seconded. Rachel.
I'm going to talk about all three of these under this one. So these are the bonds that we've been talking about since April or May. We just kind of pushed the timeline back until I was back in the office. The first one is for the Euclid Street project, so that's going to replace the MFT bond. The second one is the refinancing of the 2018B, and we are refinancing that to save about $150,000 over the life of that bond. And then the last one is for the sewer project that's going to be taking place with the CDBG grant in the alleys here starting soon. And the payment of that replaces the 2013B bond payment that comes off in November of 2020. That's all I have.
Any comments, questions? Motion's been seconded. Call roll.
Councilmember Swanson.
Aye.
Mabry.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
Newman.
Aye.
Mayor Querom.
Aye.
Next on the agenda is Ordinance O-19-013. This is an ordinance authorizing and providing for the issue of not to exceed $2.8 million taxable general obligation refunding bonds, alternate revenue source, Series 2019B of the City of Princeton, and providing for the levy and collection of a direct annual tax sufficient for the payment of the principal and interest on said bonds for the purpose of refinancing an outstanding obligation of the city and paying for costs related thereto. First reading. Mayor, all council members have reviewed this ordinance and it is submitted for disposition.
I move that we advance ordinance O-19-013 to the second reading.
Second.
Motion's been second. Comments? Call roll.
Councilmember Swanson.
Aye.
Mabry.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
Newman.
Aye.
Mayor Querem.
Aye.
Next item then on the agenda is ordinance O-19-014. This is an ordinance authorizing and providing for the issue of not to exceed $400,000 in general obligation bonds, alternate revenue source, Series 2019C of the City of Princeton, and providing for the levy and collection of a direct annual tax sufficient for the payment of the principal of and interest on said bonds for the purpose of financing the costs of improving the sewerage system of said city and paying for costs related thereto. This is the first reading. Mayor, all council members have reviewed this ordinance and it is submitted for disposition.
I move that we advance ordinance O-19-014 to the second reading.
Second.
Motion's been second. Comments? Call roll.
Councilmember Swanson.
Aye.
Mabry.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
Newman.
Aye.
Mayor Querem.
Aye. Thank you, Pete. City manager report. Okay, under mayor report, I do have a project that I'd like to discuss for this summer, parking alternatives. And the reasoning behind this is both for safety purposes and to reduce congestion. So to be removed, the parking spaces to removed or changed. So to be removed, to reduce and to improve traffic flow are the 4 parking spaces on the east side of Main Street from Kramer's to the intersection of Peru Street. By removing these spaces, we'll eliminate the bottleneck that occurs daily in this area. It will widen the flow of traffic flow on Main. So there are 2 well-defined lanes that are increased in length. A left turn lane and a through lane shared with a right turn lane. IDOT, who is looking to adjust the traffic light sequence at Peru Main, has also recommended that we remove these 4 stalls for this purpose. And to be changed for safety and also to aid the traffic flow are the 4 diagonal parking spots in front of the chamber and converting them to 3 parallel parking spaces. We've had a few accidents occur with cars that are parked in the spaces to the south, cars southbound on Main intending to turn into the drive leading to the parking lot behind the chamber have been struck by parked cars in the stalls to the south as they back out onto Main. These drivers are when they are backing out, they are looking over their right shoulders as they watch for approaching traffic. As would be expected, they don't pay attention to southbound cars coming from Peru Street. So as they back out, and as the south car turns into the drive for the parking lot, they collide. And converting these spaces to parallel also helps in eliminating the bottleneck at Peru and Main for northbound traffic. So we're going to lose a net of, if we go forward with this, we'll lose a net of 5 parking stalls. But I think we can make up the loss of those 5 net parking stall losses by looking at behind the Chamber of Commerce. We have the 2 center lanes that go right down the middle for parking. Those can actually be moved to the south a few feet, and they can be made diagonal as well. And that will free up room that we can make an entire diagonal lane parking along the north curb that's currently parallel behind the chamber. At least that's how it looks. You know, we have to do some measurements and everything, but there seems to be plenty of room to do that. So I think we'd more than make up for the loss of 5 parking stalls that we're taking away on Main Street. And the idea is to give this a trial run of 3 to 6 months, I don't know, whatever seems to make sense, and then make a determination if it remains a permanent fix. So that is... throw that out there. I've advised the council of this already by email, so I'm just going to open up for discussion.
I do have a couple thoughts on this, and I appreciate that you gave us an opportunity to look at this. So this morning I'd asked Councilperson Ray Swanson here to join me up there, and a couple thoughts on this. And looking at it on the ground, the discussion I had, and I think Ray would agree with me, is that if we focused on the 4 spots that are right in front of the chamber, and out of those 4, the very south one that's a culprit, I remember at one time, I think the police department used to use that to park their police car in the old days. But anyway, if that one there was just eliminated, that last southerly spot, and it would just be a matter of taking out one of the lines and adding a little more yellow paint. That would, I think, be a quick fix to help eliminate that idea. And I understand where it's coming from, the backing out of the stall, not looking to see a car turning. So that was one suggestion that we came up with, was in the 4 stalls to the front of the chamber, eliminate the very southerly one, keeping the other 3 diagonal. The other thing was, in looking at the 4 spaces that could possibly be removed from Kramer's going up to the north, we contacted the building owners, because I remember a couple years ago I had a great idea that I thought to take Columbus Street and temporarily close it off, and in the process of talking to the businesses, we failed to contact the church that would have been affected at the far east end of Columbus. So unfortunately, I think that this is almost a similar case. I made a quick phone call to the building owners, and they have not been contacted as of today. So I think that we owe it to them, would be Kramer's, Roger, and Mary. I talked to them on the phone, and they were not aware of this, as well as Mike Holt is the next building to the north, and Tom Christensen is going to 2 buildings. The insurance company, I wasn't able to make contact. I left them a message. So here again, I would just encourage the council to hold up on any more discussion until they talk to the building owners that would be drastically affected by those 4 spaces being removed. Now, if IDOT's demanding it, it's one thing, but if they're recommending it, I know that here again, these parking spaces are so precious, because at the north end, like in front of the good folks at the bakery, Flower House Bakery, there's only 4 spaces total on that block. And when IDOT came in and redid that a few years back, they stripped out spaces, and I know I hear all the time from the folks at those business owners, they'd love to see a few more spaces, even though we've given them ample additional parking at the corner of Main and Elm. That's a city municipal lot that's now paved. Those spaces right in front of a building owner is critical when they want to see people want to pull in and grab a cup of coffee. So I think that we really just need to look at going back and talking to the building owners that are affected. My brief discussions with them, they're excited about talking to somebody from the city about the idea and getting some input from them. I just think it's critical we need to include the building owners.
What was their initial comment to you when you were describing what we were thinking about?
The idea of taking a space, for example, in front of the chamber and losing that to the south, they understood that. They've seen that happen where a car starts to back out and all of a sudden you have a possible accident. They were definitely not in favor of losing a space in the front. And part of it is, I think, they just want to be communicated with. And I know that we're talking about this as council members, but I think it's important that we get their input up front, because they're the ones that are on the ground. They're the ones in the trenches every day fighting to get customers to come in their door. And once we eliminate those spaces, I don't know how IDOT plays into this whole thing. I don't think we're going to get those spaces back from IDOT. So that's just my thoughts.
Well, it's a city street, so it's, IDOT's making the recommendation. It's not their highway, it's ours. So they're making the recommendation because of the way the bottleneck's there. So that's IDOT wouldn't going forward. I mean, if you remove them and we decide to put them back, or vice versa, or whatever, they wouldn't have a say. They wouldn't have a play in it.
Sure. I think, again, Ray, what's your thoughts, unless you were there with me?
Yeah, and just thinking right now, too, I wonder if it would be an option if the 4 spots to the north, could those be maybe 3 parallel? Then they'd be losing just 1 there. But I do like the idea, Mayor, you said in the back that they look at diagonal parking back there. That would definitely gain some parking behind the Prouty building, too.
So, what do you think of the idea of just going parallel from the front of the party building all the way to the corner of Blue Street? We're gonna, you've got 4 diagonals. Ray talked about removing 1 diagonal, but we have room for 3 parallels, so there's really no loss of parking if you went parallel all the way down to the end as an alternative.
Yeah, I didn't know if that would make sense to go further to the north. That's where, just glancing at it right now, thinking if you did pull out 1 and you made them all diagonal, or parallel, sorry, it would probably be about 3 maybe, but
Ray, if I could, let's say you envision this, and what you have to do is get up there early in the morning and actually park your car there and think, okay, how does this really lay out? Because if all of a sudden you're doing the other 4 that I've talked about that are from Kramer's going north and do parallel, all of a sudden, just think, as Joel mentioned, there's a little bit of a backup at times with the traffic. Now you got people that, to do a parallel, you have to pull ahead of the stall. As we all know, we took driver's ed as Steve Kaiser, but then you have to back in there. And it's a little bit of a challenge. I mean, and all of a sudden, if you got people behind you, all of a sudden the crisis starts. And if we have some seniors, I think they're going to, I don't think they're going to.
They'll just park behind the property. How easy is that? I'm just thinking of, if there's a safety, if we can improve the traffic flow, then we ought to think about it and have a discussion with the store owners, and maybe they'll understand that the safety and all that is paramount to, parking right in front of their building.
I think you have to look at the greater good.
And that's really why we're even talking about it, because we think there could be an advantage for traffic flow to consider redesigning that, and it's worth more discussion for sure.
Sure. And if I could, even in visiting with the Kramers over the phone, they were on vacation today, they were kind enough to take my call. I threw out an idea. I said, now what about this idea? I said that, let's say if we were to come into the chamber parking lot from the far south alley, and we were to eliminate the north alley going out, because I know when I leave Kramers and with my food to go, I have to walk down that alley, there's traffic coming towards you, or if I'm walking from the parking lot to Kramers, I always feel like there's somebody sneaking up behind me in a car. I said, what would happen if we would temporarily close off that alley between the chamber and Kramers, and if that would work, if all of a sudden there could be some good traffic flow without that being there, in theory we could add 3 more diagonal spots up in front where that exit is, if there would no longer be an exit going out onto Main Street. So they understood that was but you have to really get your back chamber parking lot really up to speed and humming with a traffic flow, because as Kramer said, they have a semi that comes in. It's a short one, but it swings in, and so that poor back parking lot, I think before we did something like that, we really have to rethink that parking lot and get it organized the way it should for traffic flow, because you'd be taking the traffic then, instead of exiting at Kramer's, you'd be going out on Church Street. So I think there's some worthiness to this. I just think you need to get together with the building owners and get their input.
I think that parallel park up in North End, I would say that would create more of a congestion and more of a safety, as to I know that not a lot of people park parallel, especially here. So I would think, and personally, I think that would be out.
I was in Galena last weekend, and all of Main Street is parallel parking. It's not fun, but that's their option.
Yeah, the other thing about making those stalls parallel in front of the chamber as well, if you leave that exit next to Kramer's open, obviously that exit, because you would make that one way. If you make those stalls in the back diagonal, it'd be one way like it is now. If you wanted to pull out and go back on Main, you just do a loop to come out that exit. But the problem is that, as everybody knows, when you come out of the parking lot behind the chamber, you got to, if there's cars parked diagonally right there, you've got to pull halfway out into the street to see if anybody's coming. So again, you're still dealing with a very it's just an unsafe. I don't know how many accidents have occurred there, but it's just an unsafe situation. And making those 3 parallel spots there eliminates 2 safety concerns, and that also helps aid in the flow as far as traffic flow is concerned. And again, like Jerry said, we're here talking about this because we're looking for what is the greater good, safety and congestion. If you're adding, which I think we would be adding quite a few diagonal spaces, we go diagonal, we're going to be adding. I don't think you'll see a net loss of total parking spaces. I think you're going to be seeing a significant gain in parking spaces. You just have to walk a little further.
Well, again, to reiterate, I think that the one space to the very far south could be easily eliminated right now with just removing the one stripe and painting a little more yellow, and that is the first step of a concern of a car backing out. So by eliminating that one, that can be done right away, keeping the diagonal spaces. But I think the stakeholders that are not here tonight to add any discussion are the building owners, and they need to be brought into the conversation.
Right, so what we can do on this is, I wanted to bring this up tonight. I mean, we didn't put it on the agenda for a vote because I wanted the discussion to take place, and I think it also needs to get out into the public to see what the public thinks about doing this. It's going to have to, if we do this, it'll be by ordinance. So the ordinance would be up for first reading at our next meeting, provided, and it can be on the agenda regardless. But We can certainly talk to the proprietors of the buildings on Main Street, but again, when you're looking at the greater good, and with what we could do with the back parking lot behind the chamber, it just kind of makes sense to move in this direction. And again, it's a trial run. Do it for 3 months or whatever and see how it works. Anything further? Any other comments?
No, I think talking to the building owners would be good just to get their input.
Okay, so do we have any old business? Any new business? Public comment? Okay, I entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting and to reconvene at our next.
And whether we adjourn our regular meeting this evening and reconvene for our next council meeting on Monday, July 15th, 2019, 7 o'clock at City Hall.
Second.
Motion's been second, call roll.
Councilmember Swanson.
Aye.
Mabry.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
Newman.
Aye.
Mayor Querem.
Aye, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for coming.